One of my favorite books of all time is Shogun by James Clavell, and so when Owlcat Games reached out to me to ask if I would take a look at their upcoming new game, Shadow of the Road, well, I was freaking thrilled. The thing is, Owlcat's newest game isn't one that they're actually making themselves. It's from their brand new publishing arm, which has picked 2 new games from different developers. One of them is Shadow of the Road, a classic CRPG set in feudal Japan, complete with mystical magics, devastating machines, and oh so much blood. Like truly so much blood. And I got to play it. So thank you so much to Owlcat Games, the publisher of the game, and Another Angle, the developer of the game, who gave me the opportunity to jump into their game and give it a shot and give you this first impressions video. When you're watching this video, you should actually be able to play the game yourself, at least the preview of it. So if you want to jump in and try what I tried, you can go do so right now. But I do appreciate you clicking on this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you later, I guess, if you go do that. Thank you, though. Shadow of the Road is a story-driven turn-based RPG set in feudal Japan in 1868, a real historical time with a real civil war between Emperor Meiji and the Tokugawa shogunate, called the Boshin War. It's a time of increased Western influence in Japan and has been used as a backdrop for many great fictional stories, one that Shadow of the Road hopes to be. You take on the role of 2 disgraced ronin, following defeat at the hands of the Emperor backed by the British East Nippon Company and their technological superiority. It's not just rifles though, they've got fucking steam scorpions. The preview I got to play was a short tutorial alpha build, but it's introduced some of the core systems, the core combat, and demonstrated some of the story and the promise of a game, as well as some of its possible limitations. There will be some minor spoilers here, but it's mostly the first hour-ish of the game, so this is all just kind of getting a feel for what the game is like. Let's start with combat, because it felt like the most complete part of the game and the most accessible to anyone who's played a CRPG before. Anyone familiar with CRPGs will be familiar with the turn-based combat present in Shadow of the Road. It's your standard turn-based companion combat where you and your companions, well, you know, take turns. After failing the tutorial battle a few times though, well, perhaps because I'm bad, but also because it was a bit deeper than I originally thought it was. You'll have your standard set of skills, but range and movement take prominent roles, as well as timing of attacks. Parts of the game can be used as cover, and some cover can be destroyed while other cover cannot. Many ranged attacks may take up to 2 turns to go off, but you can interrupt them with your quick bow-wielding friend Akira to let your devastating sword wheel of Satoru get close and dice up the Western Imperialists and the Emperor lapdogs. There are also abilities that will shift the position in the order, basically skipping your turn, as well as allied abilities that can speed up your turns. In this way, I think it really does lean into the tactical side of things for the CRPG, because I actually found myself plotting out moves in advance, like chess, kind of thinking, okay, first I'll do this, then I expect them to run this way, so I'll counter like this, planning a couple moves in advance. If that's the kind of combat you like, then I really think you'll enjoy the combat in Shadow of the Road. Now you might have noticed I pointed to specific characters, Satoru and Akira. This is because in Shadow of the Road, you won't be creating any characters. Instead, you're following the story of preset characters. We begin the tutorial with Satoru and Akira, 2 friends and samurai who've now become ronin, but still seek to be in the service of the Tokugawa. Later on in the short tutorial, we meet 3 other characters who join us, but before we talk about them, let's talk about how you can shape Satoru and Akira. You see, because lack of customization doesn't mean you won't have an impact on your characters. In fact, it seems like you'll have the ability to shape them and mold their personality, something I noticed very early in the dialogues. Choices I made changed the standing of the characters. It moved them closer together or further apart. It moved them more toward Ronin or toward Samurai. It looked like your basic idea of a morality system, but I appreciated that I had this control over the characters and I wasn't just following a preset story. But damn, they throw in these time decisions, especially the most consequential ones, that really just like they really get your blood pumping a little bit. And I'm not sure if I like that or I hate that, but it does evoke reaction. Like, should I have saved this person or killed them? That was a tough fight. Let's see, what are we supposed to do here? Do we save them or wait, fuck, it's timed. Oh my God. Do I kill them or do I not kill them? Save them, I think save them. Yeah, let's save them. I don't know, let's save them. I can't kill them. Like, oh shit, I think I messed up. Oh shit, I think they think I'm weak now. Maybe I should have killed his ass. He was kind of a dick. One of the things I really appreciated from this demo was the quality of the writing. It evoked emotions in me, like it made me absolutely hate people, it made me like people, and I felt drawn into my two protagonists immediately from the way they played off of each other. I could feel their friendship in the writing, which is hard to do, especially so quickly in a game, like within moments of playing the game. But there's a caveat with that. Because, like Solasta 2, like Avowed, there are many characters that just don't have any lines, they just kind of stand there, taking up about as much emotional and mental headspace as the bushes beside them. And this became clear to me in one important moment. Toward the end of the preview, as we're going about discovering some deeper meaning for the game, getting our first little hints of the magic in the game and magic in the world beyond its feudal Japanese setting, we're at an estate. There's people everywhere, but none of them have lines. These aren't even voiced lines, they're just simply not written lines. This makes these characters feel less than background, and you may be thinking, why does that matter? Well, and this might be telling, because they fucking die and I didn't care. They had no names, no thoughts, nothing. I hardly noticed them. They just went from alive to dead. Stuff like this is polish. It's like when you're reading a good book or a TV show that sets up the moment. This, on the other hand, denies the setup. Sure, maybe some players won't bother to talk to any of them either, but even just a few world-building lines around the estate, references to the lord of the estate or the mysterious boy and his mother that are also there, or if you really wanted to be cruel, personal anecdotes would have made their deaths have an impact. Burning a city to burn a city just means some buildings burn down. Burning a city of homes sits with you longer. It gets you more invested in the story, and stuff like this makes me more concerned for the breadth of the storytelling going throughout the game. Will I care about the world, or just the narrow focus of the characters I'm actually shown? Small world-building details like this in the writing to me are the difference between average, good, and great RPGs. But I also want to make a point here to the three companions you pick up right after this little assassination attempt. Two of them we get to know a little bit about, but the third, well, the mother, is actually barely introduced. Now I'm certain that they'll expand on this scene after this, but for the tutorial we didn't get to see anything, really. The introduction of these new companions in that way kind of felt a bit rushed. Much like the massacre at the estate felt kind of rushed. But perhaps I'm being a bit too nitpicky. Perhaps I'm just a little too harsh when it comes to world building and story, I guess. So let's get back to gameplay. This is not an open world game, but instead follows narrative beats and scenes. There was a little bit of exploration, but I mostly just felt like I was going along a predetermined path through small areas. However, those areas are really beautiful. By comparison, another game I played recently that's kind of a AA CRPG kind of like this is New Arcline, which felt a bit more, well, quite a bit more open. But the parts it does show you and lets you walk around through are very expressive and they're very pretty. The world is interactable, but in very small ways. Like for example, I was getting so distraught because I thought these two options I had for this dog were to leave the dog to the flames or kill it, because it gave me the option to, well, kill it. But after a while, just running around in circles, desperate not to do either of those options, and even considering just quitting the game right here because what the fuck, I saw that while I couldn't interact with the wall, the crates, or anything else, or even use skills because I'd considered, well, maybe I have this big guy here that has a ramming skill, maybe I could break the gate, or I have my archer, so maybe I could use the arrows to drop the crane. Neither of those were options. Well, before having to make that terrible decision, I found out that you can just interact with the crane. The unfortunate part of this is it makes the game feel a bit more artificial, or perhaps I'm just spoiled by Larian games. This coupled with an issue I had in general with the rest of the world's interactability, as there will be things you can find on the ground, items you can pick up and click. The problem is it didn't feel very crisp. It felt like I was having to click several times or move around to get some better angles so the game would recognize I was trying to pick them up. It just didn't function the way you expect it to from a gameplay standpoint. But I tried to bear in mind that this is an alpha build, and hopefully they'll use the feedback they get during this alpha build from this to kind of sew this part up, because it's mildly annoying enough to distract you when you have to click 10 times to pick up a single use health potion. On the performance side of things, I had a few crashes, I had a little bit of lag issues, and there were times where I didn't really feel like the game was properly responding to me, like with the items. But interestingly enough, these places were all out of combat and in the world. In combat, it felt fantastic, better than some of the other CRPGs I've played recently. Like, for example, I talked about New Arcline. The combat here felt a bit better than that, and both of those games are not fully released, so just keep in mind that there's always room for improvement until the game actually releases. And then I guess sometimes after that too. It has some other issues like animations that need more polish, especially like here at the end where it just kind of looks off, but overall the game ran fairly well and it looked good. Overall, I enjoyed my time in Shadow of the Road and was sad when it kind of abruptly ended. This is a game that I will want to play again. I do hope that they fix some of the things that I was mostly concerned about, really just fix the way that you interact with the world and pick things up. But this is not a AAA game, it doesn't have that kind of polish, and I'm expecting some roughness around the edges. But it had a story that intrigued me, characters I found interesting, and combat that I imagine will only continue to get more tactical as more enemy types come in and you add in new magics and steampunk mechanics. The combat really had me interested to see what was going to happen. It's one of those games like New Arcline where I feel like the setting is going to be the most important draw. If you're craving a feudal Japan CRPG with magic and steampunk vibes, this is an intriguing title to look at. I'm also very curious to see where things go with Owlcat's publishing arm after these two titles drop. The other title is a narrative RPG experience called Rue Valley, promising a very different type of game. My name is Redbeard Flynn. Thank you again to Owlcat and Another Angle Games for this opportunity to play the game. I hope you watching this video get to go try it yourself, because keep in mind, it's just my opinion. Your opinion matters more than mine to you. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.